politics. Just want to give you an update and go through Donald Trump's first press conference as president-elect. President-elect Trump, that's what they kept calling him, all the reporters clamoring to get a questioning with President-elect Trump. This is his first press conference in 168 days, I believe. Last one was in July, when he basically said, Russia, go hack Hillary Clinton's emails. That wasn't great, but I was at one in June. A lot of people were asking me on Twitter, is there normally applause at press conferences? No. The one that I was at, he stacked his people in the front of the room where they all applaud what he says. It's a very Trumpian thing to do, which is soon to be Merriam-Webster's new word, because everyone's talking about what's the Trumpian thing to do. I don't know. But he did. This was his first press conference since July, and it was explosive. He got into a tiff with a CNN reporter. I believe it was Jim Acosta. Yeah, so he got into an argument with him basically and called CNN fake news. CNN is certainly fake news in some areas. When it's covering Trump, I don't know about that. Right now, the entire mainstream media and the entire corporate media is united against Donald Trump. I think that comes with some upsides. It means that we can hold Donald Trump accountable, but it also means that it's covering up a lot of the glaring holes in the mainstream media, especially things like CNN, the corporate media, that need to be held accountable. But I wanted to go through some of the main highlights from this press conference and discuss also what BuzzFeed has to do with all of this. So Sean Spicer, the former communications director for the House Budget Committee, he is now Donald Trump's I believe, communications director, and he's now going to be his White House press secretary. So he spoke first, and they immediately addressed the BuzzFeed allegations, and they called BuzzFeed's report a sad, pathetic attempt to get clicks, and it was outrageous and highly irresponsible. I don't know if I disagree. What BuzzFeed did is questionable, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But Mr. Spicer also criticized CNN, but the network did not publish the documents and reported only that Mr. Trump had been briefed by intelligence officials. That is also under question. NBC News is reporting that he may have not been briefed on this particular topic. We don't really know at this point, but CNN got very defensive. I saw Jake Tapper and Wolf Blitzer literally defend CNN for 20 whole minutes, saying that, no, we didn't report this, we're not BuzzFeed, we're not fake news, and that's part of the tiff that CNN and CNN's Jim Acosta got into with Donald Trump during this press conference. So that was one of the highlights. That's how Sean Spicer introduced him. Mike Pence then introduced him, and then Donald Trump began to speak. So Trump talked about the document that was released by BuzzFeed, and he said that it was released by maybe the intelligence agencies, but who knows, which would be a tremendous blot on their record. This begins a very acrimonious and difficult relationship between Donald Trump and the intelligence community. The intelligence community and him are not getting along. I saw Rick Santorum on CNN saying, oh no, it's just with the officials in the intelligence community. Clapper is basically a Republican. Jim Comey is a Republican. So what are we talking about here? No, it's just Donald Trump spitting in their face. And, I also said the Republicans could say, well, you can doubt the intelligence community, but they wouldn't be able to actually say that because the reason that we shouldn't doubt the intelligence community, the most glaring example, is the war in Iraq, and they don't want to talk about that. So another thing that happened was he said that he asked David Shulkin to be lead the Department of Veterans Affairs. As we recall, that was supposed to be Sarah Palin, but in true Trumpian fashion, second time I've used that in this video, he stabbed her in the back, which I enjoyed. Mr. Trump also said that after his briefing last Friday with the American intelligence officials, he indeed thought Russia was behind the effort to attack his opponents. As far as the hacking, I think it was Russia, Mr. Trump said. So boom, Donald Trump believes that it is Russia, but again, take that with a grain of salt. These are the same people that are telling President Obama that it was Russia. But the fact that Donald Trump admitted it shows that there is probably a preponderance of evidence, as the legalese say, a lot of evidence that it was Russia. So take that with what you will, or whatever the phrase is. I just stumbled. It continues. He then cast blame on the DNC for not protecting their emails better. That's, I guess, okay, but it's kind of like blaming the victim. I hate to paint the DNC as the victim, but, like, give me a break. Don't blame the DNC. It's a very Trump-like thing. Trumpian. I'm going to keep using it. And then we get into the meaty stuff. So Mr. Trump reiterated in his description of the report printed by BuzzFeed as fake news, saying that he did not think that President Vladimir Putin had compromising information about him or the Republican Party. I'll be honest, if he did add something, he would have released it. No, he wouldn't have. He's going to wait till you're president and blackmail you with it. Mr. Trump said he was untroubled by the intelligence reports that Russia preferred him over Hillary Clinton, and that Mr. Putin ordered the hacking during the election to benefit him. If Putin likes Donald Trump, guess what, folks? That's called an asset, not a liability. First of all, stop referring to yourself in the third person. You are not Elmo, and you are not Gollum. What are you talking about here, buddy? But you are a narcissist, so that's probably why you're referring to yourself in the third person. And this is what you're missing, because you're an idiot. That you don't have to make this a partisan issue. It makes sense that Putin prefers you over Clinton, because of the policies that you laid out in the primary. So why are you running away from it? Clinton had said that she would institute a no-fly zone, which Russia would have seen as an aggression and would have hated. And secondly, that's a fact, by the way. That's a fact. Those were your policy differences. So it makes sense. But nothing makes sense to Donald Trump if it's not to his political advantage. Clinton also said that she would have likely increased sanctions on Russia, like President Obama did, which would have decimated Russia's oil deals. And then I'm just going to read this quickly from Democracy Now! One of the enormous deals that Vladimir Putin and Rex Tillerson, future Secretary of State probably, worked on was a $500 billion oil exploration partnership between Exxon and the Russian government's oil company, Ronsfeld. The Obama administration blocked the deal when it imposed sanctions against Russia for its intervention in the Ukraine. Now, Trump's Secretary of State was negotiating a $500 billion oil deal with Vladimir Putin. So Putin is getting exactly what he wanted. Is that the smoking gun that Vladimir Putin himself nefariously interfered with the election process? No. Did Putin and the Russian government hack the votes to make sure Trump was elected? There is no evidence of that. Absolutely. And does it seem likely now that they were involved in hacking the DNC emails and John Podesta's emails? Yes. At least indirectly. Did they have a motive? Yes. But the public has yet to see direct evidence, as Glenn Greenwald and other journalists at The Intercept have pointed out. So, yes, this has benefited Vladimir Putin. There is no doubt about it. And he seems to be holding Trump by puppet strings. So, take with that what you will. Mr. Trump also swatted away allegations, including the uncorroborated opposition research reports about the intelligence that Russians supposedly have on him. He said he instructs aides anytime that he goes abroad to ensure that there are no cameras spying on him. Of course, it's always about him. He also added, apparently referring to a detail in the report about supposed sex videos with prostitutes. I'm also very much of a germaphobe, believe me. That's, if you're seeing the golden showers hashtag on Twitter, that's what it's about. So I'll now talk about the BuzzFeed article, which is very controversial, rightfully so. This is the BuzzFeed article headline. These reports allege Trump has deep ties to Russia. The subheader says, the dossier compiled by a person who has claims to be a former British intelligence official alleges Russia has compromising information on Trump. The allegations are unverified and the report contains errors. So basically they just put it out there, balls to the wall, and they released the entire document and put in a variety of caveats that's saying that there were spelling errors and a bunch of errors, and this should probably not be trusted. I'll go in a little bit into further detail. The dossier, which is a collection of memos written over a period of months, includes specific unverified and potentially unverifiable allegations of contact between Trump aides and Russian operatives and graphic claims of sexual acts documented by the Russians. The document was prepared for political opponents of Trump by a person who is understood to be a former British intelligence agent. It is not just unconfirmed, it includes some clear errors. Okay, so if it's potentially unverifiable, BuzzFeed, why did you publish it? I have a theory on that, but I will go a little bit more into detail about what happened with the publishing. So the dossier, which was prepared by the British intelligence official, was circulating, apparently according to the New York Times, among high-ranking politicians and some journalists this fall. Intelligence officials recently presented a 2-page summary of the allegations to Mr. Trump and President Obama, CNN reported on Tuesday. Trump is denying that he was presented with this summary. That's what I just heard. But CNN declined to include the specific allegations contained in the dossier, such as collusion between Mr. Trump's team and Russian operatives, saying that its journalists could not independently verify them. Roughly an hour later, BuzzFeed posted the full article, the full dossier. Ben Smith, BuzzFeed's editor-in-chief, declined to comment beyond the article, which carries the bylines of 3 BuzzFeed reporters. But in a memo to his staff, Mr. Smith offered a further explanation about why the site had published the document. Our presumption is to be transparent in our journalism and to share what we have with our readers, Mr. Smith wrote. We have always erred on the side of publishing. In this case, the document was in wide circulation at the highest levels of the American government and the media, and that's really their explanation. My general feeling about this is that BuzzFeed is a news organization that is clamoring to get credibility. They actually did some good journalism during the primaries and during the general election as well, and I like some of their reporters, but they want to hop onto this and get themselves ahead of the story, and they want to gain themselves some credibility. I don't know if it was the right move. It seems... Oh. Hi, guys. Okay, I hope this is the same stream. I think it just cut out. But it does seem, as the hours pass, that, yeah, sorry, guys, the app just crashed. I hope this is the same stream. But it seems, as the hours pass, that this piece of information, that this BuzzFeed piece of information is getting less and less credible. So, who knows? But we continue with the press conference. Turning to his businesses, Mr. Trump has said he has been offered $2 billion worth of deals in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates over the weekend, but has turned them down. Great. Asked about his tax returns, Mr. Trump said that he was still not releasing them because they are under audit. By the way, every president has in modern history in the past few decades, so and having stuff under audit, as has been pointed out in the election, does not prevent you from releasing your tax returns. He said that they're still under audit. They're going to be under audit for his entire presidency. I guarantee you that. He said that the American people did not care about the documents anyway. The only ones who care about the tax returns are the reporters. I care. I think a lot of other people care, but it's just because you're not as rich as you say you are. So that's why. He said he would not divest from his vast business holdings as he takes office. Instead, the president-elect will turn over the operations and control of those holdings to a trust controlled by his eldest sons, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. Apparently, he's planning not to have a relationship with or talk to his sons about anything substantial or anything having to do with the business for his entire presidency, which is laughable. God, I hope he's stupid enough to record those conversations. It's ridiculous. The lawyer continued, President-elect Trump wants there to be no doubts in the minds of the American people that he is separating himself from his business interests. Well, we have doubts. Adding that Mr. Trump's sons will make all decisions for the company without any involvement whatsoever from Mr. Trump. She said Mr. Trump would resign all positions he holds with the Trump organization and would, as with his daughter Ivanka, but not his sons. Why Ivanka is different from Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, I don't understand, but idiotic. Ms. Dillon argued that selling Mr. Trump's business would prove more difficult and create more ethical quandaries than the plan that the Trump organization had chosen. How convenient. A totally blind trust, she said, would likewise be impossible under the circumstances. And she added, President-elect Trump should not be expected to destroy the company that he built. You are the president. You're supposed to be a public servant. You are expected to make sacrifices, monetary sacrifices even, to serve the public. You piece of shit. Excuse my language. You are supposed to be a public servant. This isn't about making yourself richer. You are supposed to be expected to make sacrifices. You're supposed to move out of Trump Tower and move into the White House, and you're supposed to get rid of your business holdings and give up an iota of your wealth to serve the American public. That got me. Should not be expected to destroy the company he built. But he can destroy the country's little trust that they have left in the American government along with it. So, great. Finally, Obamacare. This is what he said. I thought it was never going to be asked. He talked a little bit about how they're going to repeal and replace Obamacare almost simultaneously. Great. You know what was lovely? Was watching the Bernie Sanders town hall on CNN, where he talked to a woman, I get choked up just thinking about it, who has terminal cancer and is going to, and relies heavily on the Affordable Care Act to deal with her medical costs. And so, great. I'm glad we're repealing and replacing that. Let's just, I want Donald Trump to sign her death warrant himself with his tiny hands. So that's about it. That's really what happened in the press conference, besides the juicy conflict between Trump and the CNN reporter over the CNN's journalistic credibility. That's really what went down. I encourage you guys to look that up on YouTube. So, that's really my recap. God, I hope this video is saved. The YouTube app crashed on my phone in the middle of this, so that's why you may experience some interruptions. So, have a lovely day, my friends. I wasn't angered at all by that press conference. Can you tell? Bye.